Hello everyone, this is Dee. I am back with Venus in the 8th house. Boy oh boy, I could not wait to get to this one. The 8th house always cracks me up because I have such a deep understanding of it, and it fascinates me still. I have digged into my own 8th house, one for understanding of myself and my own stuff, but it's still so fascinating. You could always go a different layer deep. So when I tell you I'm excited to do this one here, I'm excited. I have a feeling this might be in depth and longer than the others. So come with me, and no matter what, it's still going to be fun to listen to. Everything that I'm going to say is going to be very, very interesting. So this house is of fire and of water. Now you could see, as I mentioned before, from house 1 to house 6, Venus was about the self. It was about me and everything that I could do for me. How can things serve me? My instinct, my this, my that, my other. Up until that time too, Venus have not really experienced any darkness, has not actually been in tune to it. It's everything was happening in the above where there's, sun and the moon, and there's light, there's just life. There's just life, right? And through those experiences, Venus understands a lot of things. Mastery of everything that is of the light. I've learned all the things and did all the stuff. Okay, experience the similar, the multiple, everything that goes on. All the experiences were happen, and and the above. So all the houses and the experiences were somewhat different from what Venus is about to experience now in the 8th house. Now, in the 7th house, Venus had that realization. There is the other, not necessarily only in the way of partnership. There is another side. There are other things. There are duals and multiples of different things that are completely different from what she knows. And through that process also understanding there's light and dark. Realization of that, at least, hasn't experienced it yet, but will in the 8th house right now. Okay, so the 7th house needed to come first because she had to experience, well, there's more to life than just what you've experienced. There's other experiences, the different aspect. All that is to make Venus more multifaceted, more embodied, and more understanding of this human experience. And then we have Venus, who has already experienced fire energy in Aries, fire energy in Leo energy, which is the 5th house, and now is about to experience the fire energy in the 8th house. It's going deeper into understanding the element of fire. Venus had already experienced the water energy in the 4th house, and now we'll have to understand what that means to experience it in the 8th house. And Venus here suddenly realized, this is a different scene. This is completely different to what I'm used to. This is the below. I've never experienced the below. All the experience that I've had, even in the partnership and everything else, was of the above. And now Venus finds herself in this deep dark place of different, and it's a whole different energy. It's a different ball game in this house, where the first house in terms of water, Venus understanding instinct of survival, instinct to live. I want to live life, you know, and I'm in the second house. I'm bountiful, you know, I'm fruitful, okay, I'm delicious, okay. So, I mean, you're fruitful, you're bountiful, you're delicious in the second house. In the third house, you could communicate and stuff like that. In the fifth house, you have the fourth house, you have all this emotion because you got pleasure, things you like, da 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 da. Yeah, you know, happy and sad. But Venus there in 8th house going to experience darker emotions. And Venus there in the 8th house, the fire nature is going to be of a dark instant, because remember, Venus is in the shadows. So in the first house, that fire nature of the look at me, in the 5th house, or instinct to live and to survive, it takes a twist, it takes a turn. The fire nature of Venus in the 8th house is an instinct to survive, yes, but it's not, but also an instinct to kill. It's an instinct to stifle, to extinguish. It's an instinct to die, because in this, Venus is so focused on that survival. It's not necessarily because I want to live, it's because I want to die and rebirth and go to that cycle and go to the deep down under for retrieval of resource, for a different sort of communication and experiences of different emotion. Here in the 8th house, Venus, in the terms of emotion and water and mood, is going to experience a darker energy of, well, sorrow. It's not like I'm sad and happy. Sorrow. Because Venus there is the first time Venus is going to experience loss. All this time, Venus has been gathering resource. I want to live life. Venus there will have to also say, I want to die. And that's a new energy. Venus now is understanding, okay, in terms of duality of experience, the above and below, as above and below. Just like I desire and I have an instinct to live in the above, in the first house, down there, there's a desire to die, desire to kill. That survival involves me killing you and take that resource from you. That survival might look like me disconnecting you from the breath. How the breath was all fluffy and like airy and stuff like that in the light and the above, and the great below in the 8th house. Venus there is realizing, I wanna take away your breath. I wanna take your breath away, and I want to disconnect. I want to cut you off. Okay? I want to stifle that connection. I'm trying to get you to stay lit. I'm trying to extinguish. And in water, trying to gather, it's because you're trying to nurture, right? And water, I'm talking about when you talk about the great above in the 4th house, is because I want you so much, I want to gather, it's because I want to nurture you, protect you, And the 8th house, the water energy that plays out is that I want to drown you, because my domain is in hell. My domain is Hades. My domain is darkness. For me to have you stay with me, because remember, the experience of water so far in the wheel has been Venus wanted to guide everybody around. I want to nurture you, feed you. You're trying to stay alive, right? I want to keep you safe from others who could extinguish you. Down here in the grade below, in the darkness, Venus there, I want to drown you. That's the only way you could stay with me down there. I don't rule heaven, I rule hell. I want to take you down there with me. I want to possess you. I want to capture your soul. That's that energy. It's different because predominantly Venus is a being of the above. Okay? It's it's that shiny object. Now, if I have another example for you, think Persephone. Persephone was, for lack of better choice and to just bring nuance, was pretty much depicted as a version, a unique archetype of Venus. So there's two different stories you could see. So you could see the first story that you could see is Pluto or Hades saw Persephone as these great things full of light, full of pleasure and desire. And Pluto is in that world of darkness and pain, and it's just no fun down there. So Pluto was like, or Hades was like, let me capture this beautiful thing so I could experience a little bit of joy in my life. Because remember, there's water. 8th house is fire and water. There's a lot of deep, intense emotions. I want a little bit of love too. Whatever I could experience, I want a little bit of that. I want that. I want to possess that for myself. And maybe darkness may not be so barren, because this is a fruitful being, is bountiful. Maybe darkness could bring a little pleasure, because she is pleasure and desire. And because that's what she is, I desire her. And then so Hades or Pluto's bright idea was to capture Venus and take Venus to the world of under. And because Venus was not all and above to kind of show its light and and kind of do the fruitful and bountiful things that it does and bring the fun and the pleasure, the world of the above suffered and people started to die, the fruits and stuff like that, because the nurturing aspect of Venus wasn't there. Okay, so then at the end of the day, when they realized, because Venus learned balance in the 7th house, realized, oh, well, I don't know, but if you keep me as above, so below. So if the above dies, eventually the below will not survive. So, sorry, I know you're trying to keep me here, but at the end of the day, I cannot stay with you. I've already learned balance in the 7th house. There's got to be a pole. Polarity must exist. Okay, now that I know you are there, I will cycle through the wheel and visit you every, Scorpio season. And we could do the things, and we could do the taboo and the dirty and the mean things and the intense stuff. We could get dirty then. But at the end of the day, I have to go back to the above. I am a being of the above. Without me, the above will not survive. And because of balance that I've learned, as above is below. If above does not survive, the below will not exist. And so Hades had to send Venus back. Now that's the first story. The second story, now I like that one more because that makes sense to me. And I'm an 8th houser myself in different ways. The second story says, Venus, after going through the 7 houses and realized, oh, the whole time there was a below? What does that look like? And was looking down and trying to figure out what's under there. And Hades came and says, would you like to see what's down there? I can show you. Okay? And Venus had just discovered the other in polarity like yesterday in the 7th house. So it's like, oh, masculine energy. The other. And also the other world down there. And then starting to look at Pluto and feel like, oh, I don't know. That sounds fun. The 5th house. That sounds pleasuring. Would I be nurtured down there? And Pluto would look at her and go, I will pleasure you down there. But not in the way of the light that you're used to. It'll be a different turn. There'll be some taboo associated with that. But no matter what it is, I'll make sure it's pleasure. Will just be a different type of pleasure. And Venus is like, oh, I don't know, but if the word pleasure is associated with it, I'm in. Anyway, that's how I understand it. That's not what it says in the story, but my mind runs with that sort of thing. Anyway, so in my opinion, Pluto was able to seduce Venus, make the offer enticing, and for her own experience of experiencing both above and below, now that she knew about duality and the positive and the negative, and she understood the wrong and the right and the plus and the minus and the feminine and masculine energy, and needs to understand both sides and all sides to become the goddess that she is, really. She decided, okay, I'm gonna go down there. Only thing is I have to come back. But ooh, I really want that experience. You know, for my own completion. I'd like to go. I want to experience this. So in my opinion, because she was seduced by the below, or seduced by darkness, she went willingly. She desired to experience the darkness. She desired to get into the taboo. She desired to do the things that she could do in the above. There's too much light going on. I don't want people to see any of that. You know? I want to say demure and poise up in the above than the below. I could get ranchy. I could get ratchet. I could be a whore. You know? I don't have to be a saint and a Madonna. A virgin. I could be the other side. I could be anything else that is available because she wants to know. And she went willingly with Hades down there because she wanted to retrieve that understanding, that experience. I could say much more, but this video is at risk of being too long. So anyway, so that's my understanding of that, of the journey of Venus in the 8th house. And also through that experiencing, being willing to go to the darkness, to experience the below, Venus was also able to transform. Venus could not have transformed until she changed form. Okay, so Venus through the darkness, by the way, 8th house is related to the organs. Okay, it's related to sex, death, rebirth. Okay, rebirth, Venus has to transform there to go down there from light to dark. And then on the way back up, you know, she kind of like, you know, became back light, but she already gathered wisdom of all sides and in everything. Okay, and also, now remember, if you think about 7th house being the house of marriage, finally getting union, okay? And from union, if you're thinking of the masculine and positive and the sexual energy and yada yada yada, you could also insinuate that she, through that experience in darkness and through that sex experience, having sexual energy, sensual intercourse, Venus understand that the polarity in dimension and was able to give birth. And giving birth in the real sense is also a transformation. That's the death of the maiden to the mother. That's you change once you become a mother. You become something else. You have a different wisdom that you would not have known without having children, pushing a baby. Okay? So Venus knew that she needed to have nuance in having those experiences, and went willingly through the darkness to experience that. Okay, the body, the aspect in astrology, the eighth house is associated with different body parts, like the anus. In Vedic astrology, the eighth house is related to the energy of the south node, which is the tail of the dragon. That's where things excrete. That's when things come out. That's where waste come out. Everything that is no longer useful goes there. That's the toilet. You know, it's poop. Okay, it's things that you don't want to look at anymore. You just want to cover that. It's taboo. It's inappropriate. Let's not look down there. Okay. And the other part of the body that side, the eighth house govern, is the appendix. Appendix, you also see there is a nature of purging. It purges the lymphatic system, and it also helps the body grow gut bacteria. Nobody wants gut bacteria to be exposed to your face. It's in the gut somewhere in there that is dirty and stinky and you want nothing to do with it. You still want it there to do its job though. You know, it's like the dirt. It's going back to the dirt. You know, it's like putting a body back in the soil to rotten. You don't want it to rotten up above. You want that to be in the dark, when nobody, you don't want that in your face. It's the taboo. The light don't want to do it with that. But then that's where transformation happens, in the darkness. A baby grows in the darkness of the womb. It's when you go through the valley of the shadow of death, or what you call the dark night of the soul. That's when you become more wise, more wholesome, more renewed. And you have to transform to survive whatever it is that you're going through. And you always do. But at the end of the day, that experience curates a different version of you. Oh, I'm excited about this. Okay? So that's why you see, because of the combination of fire and water in the eighth house, Venus, these people are intense. They have layers. They have deep, dark thoughts. They have intensity. And when you're around them, and when you love them, and you have them in your life, and you're in relationship with them, there's intensity about them where you feel like, that they capture your soul. To love them is to die a little. Because it's that intensity that they bring. They bring a different nuance that is not light and fluffy. They bring a little bit of darkness within them. They bring intensity. They understand those dark emotions. No, it's not rainbows and unicorn all the time. Yes, there is angels. There's also demons. Yeah, there's happiness. There's also sorrow. Yeah, this feels good. There is also pain. It's always reflecting the other side, that people who are in the light and are fluffy and from first house to the sixth house, not really want to talk about. The eight housers, the eight house Venus will take you there, could go there with you in the deep dark and emerge with you. Because then the beautiful aspect of that Venus is because they're able to take you to that journey. Because remember, it's Venus. Venus is the only energy that was able to go back to hell and come back above to the surface. She is a being of the above, was able to go back to the below and come back. People do not come back from hell. If you end up there, this is where you stay. Venus is the only badass who was able to successfully do that energy. because she is what she is. And that experience was needed to understand the I am, you know, in the totality of it as a whole, with all the experiences, with all the polarities that exist, with all the different layers and dimensions of dark and light, and light, with wrong and the right, with the positive and the negative, with masculine and feminine, the do's and the don't, the fluffy and the non-fluffy, the polarity, the taboo, and what's appropriate and what's not. So, yeah, that is that energy. So, 25 minutes. I have to stop there. I could say more. Whenever you get me talking about the 8th house, I can't stop. I'm fascinated. I'm passionate about that house. Everything related to it. But anyway, I think that was enough. This feels complete. Let me stop talking. And yeah, I will see you again in Venus in the 9th house. See you soon.